Esenamdra, she is the project coordinator of Mental Health Society of Ghana. She's actually, she also has bipolar, and she's sharing her experience with us. Hopefully, a medical doctor will join us later for us to get to know more details with regards to bipolar. Well, Esenam, earlier you did say that you were not taking your medication even though your parents were buying it. Why did you decide not to take it?
Well, everybody has that period in their life when they are clinically diagnosed that they have a mental health condition. When they are in that, like they just stay in some period of denial. Everybody's period varies. So mine can be 1 year, someone's own can be just a month, a week, years. And it's all because here in Ghana, we perceive mental health as superstitious when it comes to mental health conditions. Like, oh, maybe it means you are mad. That's how you just get it. So everybody, you just start thinking. So they are saying, only me, I'm crazy. All my friends, they are okay. All my family members, they are okay. All my church members, why does it have to be me? So there's this sort of anger, there's this sort of refusal to take the medication because the medications also begin giving you side effects when you start. It's not easy. It's
what are the side effects?
Well, you start sleeping a lot, like dozing off in public. It makes you very drowsy. It makes you very hungry. You eat a lot. You start getting like bigger. You gain a lot of weight, and people start passing comments, which is not, you know, Ghana, no one can see you gaining weight and just keep quiet. Everybody will talk about it, whether they know you or they don't know you. So those are some of the side effects which make it very difficult. And at the time, I was a student, so I go for lectures and I'm dozing off. If I was working the same things, it could even get me into trouble. So it's not easy accepting just like that. I think because I had the right support, it was very, very easy for me to accept within 1 year. Right. It wasn't like, for other people, they don't have those kind of privileges, and their doctors don't take the time to explain to them that you can live a normal and a happy life, even with medication. My doctors kept on hammering the fact that you can go back and even be more successful, even with a mental health condition. And it really materialized within these 5 years. Sometimes I think I was even a better person before. I'm even a better person now that I have a mental health condition than before. Yeah.
Now, let's also talk about education. How did it affect your education?
Well, when I was sick, when it started, yeah, I wasn't going for lectures anymore. Like I said, my priorities were different.
Did you have to defer?
No, I didn't defer. So I failed 3 courses, not because there was something wrong with my IQ, but it was because I just wasn't going for the classes anymore. And so when I failed those 3 courses, I had the opportunity to do a study abroad in Benin for 9 months. So when I traveled, I had a change of heart and I decided to start taking my medication. Came back, resat the 3 courses in addition to my final year courses, and I was able to graduate. So I don't think the condition affected my education. It was just a matter of how I perceive things and choices I made. Yeah.
Talking about you traveling and having a change of heart, what happened there that made you have a change of heart to start your medication?
It was actually before I traveled. I traveled in October, and in July, I listened to a podcast by Bishop Dag Heward-Mills, and it was titled Wisdom 14. He was talking about how a lot of women get mental health conditions as compared to men, and he has a doctor friend whose wife had a mental health condition, and the wife actually took medication and used therapy to get better. So I realized that, okay, if this is a pastor saying this, I think I'll give it a try, because for 1 year, me refusing to take the medications has just caused a lot of havoc to me, my family, my friends. It wasn't getting any better. So let me just try it and see how things go. So as soon as I arrived in Benin, that was the day I decided to start taking it. And I realized everything got so much better.
Right. Yeah. Now, talking about the weight gain, did you gain weight?
Yes. Before the medication, I was about 68 kilograms. Now I'm weighing 92.5 kilograms. So I know I would have gained weight, but not as much as this. Yes. The medication just makes you hungry all the time. Yeah.
Now, in that 1 year period that you decided not to take the medication, did you at any point in time try to harm yourself?
No, I personally, I don't like pain. Like, I don't like pain. And I always had this imagination that if I should take my life, I'll get to heaven and God will ask me, why did you do that? I had so many plans for you. So I couldn't do it. The thoughts came. I had suicidal thoughts because I was just tired of living, especially when you get depressed. It's like if you die, maybe everybody will feel bad for how they treated you. I used to have imaginations about my funeral and all that. Yes, I'll just be sitting there and visualize, okay, my obituary on our gates, and sometimes I'll see my funeral and people filing past my coffin, and I was thinking, okay, if I really die, they'll feel bad for not paying attention to me when maybe I needed the help. Yes.
So what stopped you from doing what you wanted to do?
The suicide.
The suicide.
Like I said, I don't like pain. Yes.
So it was just the pain that stopped you?
The pain and God, and also what plans God wants me to carry out in this life. I knew that taking my life will affect a lot of people directly and indirectly. Looking at my family, all the plans everyone has for me, and I'm just going to throw it away because of how I'm feeling. It wouldn't be fair to them. It wouldn't be fair to God too. Yeah.
I like your faith in Christianity.
Yeah.
But at that point, did you feel God had let you down?
When I was diagnosed, I was very angry at God. He was the #1 person that I even stopped talking to. I was talking to him a lot, praying and all that. And every time I used to pray that, God, let this be the last day I'm going to see my psychologist. And it's like the day I go, they even give me another set of medication. So I was very angry. I think I used to even say in my house, I think I'm the most spiritual person. If God wanted to let anybody have a mental health condition, why didn't he choose someone who was less spiritual so that that person would get closer to him? I had all these kind of funny thoughts. But in the end, I realized that all things will turn out for the good of those who love God. If I didn't balance my faith with what I know about my mental health, I wouldn't be here today. And balancing that made me know that this is the opportunity for me to tell others about mental health, whether you are, whatever religion you are from. Everybody has mental health. You have mental health because you have a brain. I have mental health because I also have a brain. We should all use the opportunity to help one another so that someone will not have a mental health condition. The World Health Organization actually estimates that 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health condition in their lifetime, whether there's a pandemic or not, whether they are from a rich family or not. Definitely, it will come. So my advocacy is that we should just prepare everyone so that they know about mental health. If you see your friend or a family member with symptoms, you recognize it immediately, and the person will be able to seek treatment. Unfortunately, in Ghana here, most of those who have mental health conditions as children, people don't recognize them. They just see it that, oh, maybe the person is misbehaving. So they get undiagnosed and undetected, and they worsen because by the time I'm, let's say, 20, I've been having this thing and I haven't had it treated. Maybe I'm having post-traumatic stress disorder and I'm carrying so much hurt within me. By the time I'm 20, treatment is possible.
But it's more difficult.
It's more difficult for the person, for their support system, for everyone who is close to that person. It's more difficult, and it takes a longer time to treat because a lot of havoc has been caused. So we should just be nice to one another. If you're a teacher in the classroom, don't call your students' names. You never know. Maybe that one name you call the student, it will scar the person for life. Right. No matter how little, even the person is 2 years old, you don't know what you are doing is affecting their mental health. Everything that we do or say can affect someone's mental health. Yeah.
Asinam, you have spoken. I'm actually glad that you're here today. Luckily, our doctor is in and she will break it down medically for us to get to know more about bipolar. She is Dr. Dansua Nuyama, I hope I got it right. Okay, she's a resident at Pantai, CSR team lead. Welcome, Doc. How are you today?
Thank you very much, and happy to be here. Sorry for coming in again.
It's okay. We understand. It was a late call, so we understand. Thank you for being here, though. We are grateful. Now, we're talking about bipolar. We are celebrating women this week, and obviously the bipolar, the rate of bipolar is higher in women than it is in men. What it really is bipolar? We know of mental health disorder. Recently, we keep on hearing of bipolar, bipolar. People wonder. Even some people insult people with that word bipolar.
Interesting.
So what really is bipolar? Break it down for us, Doc.
Okay. So I'm glad you're talking about this topic. It's very relevant. When we talk about bipolar affective disorder, it's a mental health disorder, and it will classify it under a mood disorder, meaning it's got to do with issues about emotions, feelings of extremes of emotions. So the name kind of helps us understand it quite well. So bi essentially means two, and then the poles, we're looking at ends of a spectrum. So two ends of a spectrum when we are talking about extremes of mood. So on one side would have what we call the manic aspect or hypomanic. That is where one is a bit more elated, someone is extremely energetic, easily irritable, may have a lot of ideas coming to mind, and tends to be engaged in a lot of goal-directed activities. So it's like they're going
They get
up.
overactive.
Yes, so they look like they are going up and down, pacing, starting
Right.
one project, they might not finish, start another project because there are a lot of ideas also coming to mind. And they're a bit irritable, so the least thing they might flare up and get angry about things that usually they might not get angry about. Maybe talking a lot more than usual, having a decreased need for sleep during that phase as well. And for some persons, may increase in engagement in risky behaviors. So someone who initially there might be hypersexuality as well. So someone who initially maybe was very reserved, not sexually active, or has just one partner, all of a sudden might have an increase in the libido and the drive, so may engage in some other.
Multiple partners.
Exactly, and sometimes not with protection as well. So increased risk behavior. Even driving, they might speed a bit more, a bit reckless in their behaviors.
So we
Okay.
have a lot of them on the streets, I must say. Because we have a lot of reckless drivers on the
Yeah,
street.
but then the thing is, we don't use just one factor to make a diagnosis. So
Okay.
there are a few more in addition to what I've said. This is just one aspect, the manic, hypomanic aspect. And that must continue for a period of time. So usually we say at least a week of this kind of, for mania,
How
at least a
long?
week.
A week
For mania phase,
for mania phase.
these symptoms are present most parts of the days, like predominantly, and it will last for about a week. So we'd give it about a week before we'd say it's a manic episode, and the intensity as well, and it's impairment of your functioning. For hypomania, that's a bit less intense than the mania, and then I would say about 4 days of such continuous symptoms would be classifying a phase of hypomania. So that's one end of the spectrum. And after that, a person might be fine, but then have another episode, which might be the other side of the spectrum, and
Okay.
which is the depressive
The
end of the
depressive.
spectrum. And it's not like it has a particular pattern. It may happen, everybody would have a pattern that is peculiar to them. So someone might have more of the manic, someone might have more of the
So
depressive.
help me out here. A person with bipolar will have these two. Is that it?
Yes, so generally, if you're saying someone has bipolar, then it means that they,
They
would
have
be
both the
having these
mania and the
fluctuations.
depression.
Yes, but for some persons might have more depressive episodes
Okay.
than manic episodes.
Right.
And sometimes with women, we get to see that quite often women might have a bit more of the depressive episodes
Than the maniac
compared to
episode.
the
So the maniac
manic
episode is where they get hyperactive.
Yes.
They get sexually active, over happy. And then the depressive is when they get
It's
too
like-
sad.
Exactly, so very low mood, decreased pleasure from things that initially would give them pleasure. Then you might have decreased sleep. For some people, they might sleep excessively. Others might find it very challenging to fall asleep, or even wake up very early at dawn and unable to fall asleep again. And then also with appetite, there'll be some changes. For some people, they have a decreased appetite for food. Others might have an increased appetite for food. They may engage with food that's not really healthy per se.
Right.
During that period, to the sense of hopelessness, worthlessness, sometimes inappropriate guilt, feeling guilty about things that really may not be factual, or that may not really be tangible or necessary. Difficulty concentrating, and then it might come with suicidal ideations, and some people might actually act on these thoughts as well. So that's like how the depressive episode is. And as I said, so with this as well, it's not as if when you have just one at any point in time in a day, then it means you have depression. No. But then these symptoms would have to kind of be present most part of the day for most days in a week, and at least 2 weeks in a period before the diagnosis of a depression would actually be entertained, and then the severity will be assessed.